Why is nobody watching Our Hero Balthazar? It's one of the greatest films I've seen of all 2026. I believe this is an example of a hidden gem. It has great performances by Asa Butterfield and Jaeden Martell. The story is great, the performances are great, the themes are great. It's doing a lot of the things that are hitting in our current generation. I think it perfectly represents the class division, also the political unrest that we're currently in, and also how like social media affects that. And it's all showcased by these two characters who are literally losers, loners. It's not a good loser, it's like the legit losers of our current generation.
It's not a romanticized nerd.
And I think this is what we need to see. So we're gonna get into the performances, we're gonna get into the themes, and lastly, we're gonna get into the spoilers and how it made me cry in a Chinese restaurant. The film made me cry, what can I say?
Dear Letterboxd, did Asa Butterfield just give an Oscar-worthy performance and no one's talking about it?
Well, not anymore!
Our hero Balthazar follows a wealthy teenager who tries to gain his crush's attention by posting videos pleading for stricter gun laws. As an online troll begins mocking his videos, he becomes convinced the troll is a mass shooter and travels to Texas to confront him. Or to put it in the director's own words, it's a movie about a sociopath pretending to be a crybaby and a crybaby pretending to be a sociopath. And I feel like we have to shout out the director of this movie because he's produced a few Safdie brothers films. His name is Oscar Boyson and he wrote and directed this film. And his co-writer's name is Ricky Camarelli. I kept seeing him comment under people's Letterboxd reviews, so I thought it was really sweet.
Oh, wow.
He was like asking people to participate in like a survey or just like something that helps this film get more attention, so.
I will happily support in the survey. I will happily do anything for this movie.
Yeah.
So let's get into the performances of this film. We have Asa Butterfield and Jaeden Martell.
Playing Balthazar, aka Balthi. I'm gonna call him Balthi because that name is a whole mouthful.
Yeah.
And Solomon.
I think the standout thing with these performances is that they're oddly magnetic, but at the same time, you're waiting for it to all collapse.
They come off as caricatures initially as someone from the far left and the far right because Balthi represents the performative side of the left that tend to cry on camera, be part of movements, and have high opinions of things that only makes them look good. And then Solomon is the other end, is in the far right, who is obsessed with testosterone, thinks violence is the answer to masculinity. It's interesting because they both have daddy issues. So I would say that they have a lot of initial parallels. When they are destined to meet in the film, you would assume that maybe they'll find a middle ground. They'll get past their differences of the way they were raised, their class, and their different political stances. The film isn't trying to romanticize this, oh, you know, if two ends meet and befriend each other, or if like these incel men made friends, everything will be okay. It proves that no, both these sides are so far gone. It doesn't help that now there's AI, there's social media for them to constantly stimulate the worst parts of themselves and get rewarded for it online. So
yeah.
But what I was thinking when I was watching this is it really puts a face to like some of those accounts you see online that have really disturbing photos of maybe someone with a gun or a really gruesome meme. They kind of function as just leaving really rage-baity comments under stuff, like controversial comments. Like I wonder if the director got one of those comments or got one of those DMs and said like, what would this person be? And then this idea came from that.
Yeah, it's definitely like two sides of the coin. Like you're now seeing the inner soul of that commenter, but then we're also seeing like those social media accounts of those people just like crying on
going on live streams.
Yeah, like if this person is like sitting in an apartment with a great view of the whole entire city, and you have like Balthi crying about gun violence. It's like, Balthi, you're not going to deal with that. You literally are in like one of the most biggest private schools in the world. I'm pretty sure there's a whole SWAT team waiting to ensure that no one's going to shoot you.
He has a driver. He has a life coach. He takes Xanax. And he's a sociopath too. So he's very quick to shut off those feelings when he turns the camera off. And when he shuts it off, he just stays in that mode. Anytime he shows any ounce of empathy in this film, he's always quoting something he saw on Twitter, a post, or a person.
Yeah.
It's never sincere from within himself.
But I think the true performance here for me is Asa Butterfield.
Yes.
Of Solomon. I believe that whoever is listening to this, hey, I will go on my knees and go and campaign for Asa Butterfield to get an Oscar for this film. Genuinely a transformative actor entering into this character. I didn't even know it was him. It's
funny because when I saw that he was in this movie, I was really excited because Asa is definitely someone that I grew up with. I loved Hugo as a kid. That's my favorite Scorsese movie before I watched After Hours, honestly. And then he's amazing as Sex Education. He is really good at playing a brother and cousin that you feel bad for. I don't know why.
What do you think was in Solomon to like make you care about this character, even though he may have been so controversial?
He was very emotional. He was like a constant person on the edge like a fuse about to explode every minute. Like he would always hit himself. And he was listening to, I think, Baby Metal. There's a scene where he plays Jimmy Phantasm. It's clearly a knockoff of Danny Phantom. He even had a poster of him in his bedroom. Whether you like it or not, like that alone kind of makes you feel bad for this character because you
feel like you grew up with him.
You see yourself in that moment.
I feel as though if Solomon was living in Pasadena, he would have found a girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, I think he just was in the worst area where no one cares about anime. Like, anime is a cartoon. He is like this character who is not in his true environment that he wants to be in. And everything that is surrounding him is not allowing him to move on from it. He said it's hard not to empathize with this character. But the one thing that I really thought that Asa Butterfield brought to the table was like, there's something about loneliness that I think you can't teach. I think there's something about loneliness that is being the last to be chosen in a game. When everyone's at school and everyone's huddled, they're always taking like 2 steps away from you.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I think that's really hard to capture. And I think it's really hard to capture through like the way you breathe, the way you are structured, the way you're moving towards people, the way you're wanting attention from them. And I think what's a really unique thing that we have in our current generation is that the nerd is now the cool guy. The cringe is now the nerd.
Yeah.
The cringy kid that no one wants to be around is the new nerd. And these 2 characters are that, right? These 2 characters are so cringy where nobody wants to be around them. And so that's the new nerd.
I think what's cool about this movie too is that every side character was also really memorable. It wasn't just the leads.
Yeah.
Like Avon Jogia killed it in this movie as this testosterone spokesperson, testosterone powder. Same with Noah Centineo. You know, I hadn't seen that guy since Netflix, since All the Boys I Used to Love. He played a life coach in this and he fit so well. His voice, his demeanor, everything was like, wow, that's a life coach. Also about the characters, I don't think it's a coincidence that he named them Solomon and Balthazar. And I really want to ask the director what he meant with that, because when you look into the biblical meanings behind those names, which I did, it also adds more depth into this story. And I would love to make a video just getting into that, because that could be like 20 minutes of me talking. So just wanted to put that out there. Answer me. So now we're gonna get into the themes of this movie. And you know how a lot of people argue on Twitter and say if these incels had friends, they'd all be fine. There wouldn't be violence, there wouldn't be shootings or anything. Well, this movie says they'd still be crazy, and it goes with it for 2 hours. So I think this movie's themes are primarily centered around how rotted America is and how this next generation is praying for them. And the fact that class division, political divide and unrest are the main factors to these things. I would say that these 2 characters are going to be a lot more of a common person to run into, especially with the rise of AI, because even like the way they meet and the way that Balthi convinces Solomon that they should go on a date or that they should hang out is through AI. And he uses AI in a really sick way. So, but what I like about it isn't like Eddington or any of Ari Aster's productions where it kind of just shows America and society as a circus that wants to burn everything down and nothing really makes any sense. Everyone's stupid, everyone's crazy, and they're just yelling at each other.
Right, yeah.
And it just progressively gets worse and more loud and more violent. It definitely doesn't give its characters a full pass, but at the same time, it still understands that they're people and that they're young adults and that they make mistakes. And it doesn't feel like the director is looking over them and laughing at them and just trying to show everybody how stupid they look. It's doing that, but it's also saying, at the end of the day, like, these are just kids. When are we actually going to address what makes them like that and try to have conversations to improve their circumstances? Yeah. Because this mental health crisis, this gun crisis, all these things are real. And it's very hard for people that live in impoverished places or are also very out of touch to just live oblivious to them.
And that's another thing where they say, oh, we need to get rid of guns. That's not going to heal anything. You got to get to the communities. You have to get to the people. You have to have good mayors. You have to have a good system.
Education.
You have a great system, good mentors. This is all happening because 1, both of these characters do not have father figures, but also 2, they don't have good mentors, right? If you don't have a father figure, oh, it's okay. At least you have a mentor, but they don't have anything
like that. Internet.
I think there's a limit to everything, right? But sometimes people are not taught limits. And these are 2 characters who are not taught limits. But one has an extreme way to push limits, and another one knows his limits and he realizes it in the film. And that's another thing that I really like.
I think as a society, we've forgotten that showing a flawed character does not mean that the person who made it or his existence in media means that they're supporting said controversy.
Right.
we have so many people shun characters that are racist. Like people were shunning Sean Penn's character in One Battle After Another because he's racist, and it's like, yeah, because he's the worst character ever. You know, it's like, we have to see that. I don't understand this whole thing everyone has up their ass about seeing flaws.
Like, what is this level of like, this is okay, but you can't do this in movies, which is the whole thing about movies, is showing why this needs to be shown. Yeah. And then us, the humans, can like understand what to get out of it.
It should still be an art form, and art should shock you, art should make you feel things, art should question your reality, your sanity, all that. And I'm not getting that enough with films that come out. I feel like Solomon has a Crunchyroll though.
Yeah. What do you think Balthazar has? Balthazar for sure has Netflix.
For sure.
Yeah. He doesn't care about anything else probably.
I don't even know if he watches shows, honestly. He seems like someone that has absolutely no attachment to anything.
No one cares about me. I'm so lonely.
Let alone, like, even fiction isn't something he would give a chance.
He did have like a lot of memorabilia in his room.
His bedroom,
but it was like baseball.
Yeah, his bedroom looked like very outdated. Like his mom just bought that for him when he was 6.
He just kept
because it's like a little boy's theme. He never developed his own taste. But it's so funny because Balthi lived in the capital of the world, people would say, New York, and he has constant access and also an endless credit card to stimulate himself in that way. He has Broadway, he has film, he has everything.
Trust me, I could say that about every single person in our current generation, in our past generations. They have endless money, but they're gonna go on Amazon and buy the most randomest things, right?
A Stanley Cup.
I'm gonna buy a Stanley Cup in 14 color. Versions. You know what I mean? What can you do? What can you do?
Consumerism rots.
Consumerism, when you give too many people options, they're gonna go to the most bare minimum, dumbest shit ever, right? Like you think they're gonna go to the most avant-garde, craziest things ever. You have the internet, you can look up anything. I'm just gonna look up cat videos. You know, it's like that's...
I mean, even cat videos is a dying art. My grandma's like sending me weird AI generated videos of dead Armenian singers and writers giving me flowers, you know? I kind of miss the cats.
So I think it's time for the spoilers, when things get a little juicy, if you know what I mean. But I think there's not much we need to talk about besides one thing, really. It's just like how
it ends.
How it ends and why I cry.
Well, spoiler alert, Solomon dies at the end.
Yeah.
The way that scene transpires is very intense because the first thing that happens when they're wrestling with the guns abundant everywhere is that Balthi shoots the trigger and accidentally kills Solomon's grandmother, who was, I think, the only person that had any faith in his redemption or the fact that he had a potential future, and was the last remaining piece from his mom, who clearly like was his true parent. And that happened, and then Balthi had literally no reaction. He was more so just worried about how he would Uber to the airport.
Yeah.
So that was really disturbing, and then it got to the shoot off outside and he died. And I think one thing that gives this movie also rewatchability is, you brought this up, is if you watch this knowing Solomon's gonna die, these were his last 2 days on Earth. And also what's interesting is it was Balthi's birthday.
Yep.
So definitely significant days for both.
Yeah, I think that's what scared me and also got me so emotional, is like, we're seeing this super flawed character as though this is his last day of his life. And like, it's kind of like It's a Wonderful Life, where it's showing you all the things that makes him who he is. With Solomon, we see the friends he wanted to have, the girlfriend he wanted to have, the father he wanted to have, his grandmother, the mother he wanted to have, the home that he has, his plan that he had that I know for a fact he was not gonna do.
Don't be saying it like that, yeah.
So like, there are just so many things, and you're just like how sad. It's like this, like in a way, Balthazar is like the Grim Reaper. And I think that's the thing that hit me. It really hit me that like this character could have been your friend. He could have been the person that once you went to school with, like you talked to him and you didn't realize. And then you always hear those things in schools, like, oh, he did this and that, and like, oh, I talked to him in class. It's like, then why didn't you talk to him? Why didn't you build that relationship? And like, I've always been a person that pushes that. It's like, it doesn't hurt to say hello. I really felt like both of these characters I've seen in my life, right? Like, I've had a friend who's like Balthazar, and I can tell like all those mannerisms of like looking at you, but not really looking at you, wanting something, but then not telling you they want something. And then Solomon,
gaslighting you and coming out unscathed.
yeah, and Solomon trying to be tough, but really deep down he's just a little puppy, and he just wants to be petted, and he just wants to be loved, and you just know that the second you give this guy some love, like all these shells that like people have put him would just disappear.
He had like the worst person come in his life. I was telling Gord like maybe he was manifesting and he wasn't specific. Like he said, I want a friend.
Yeah.
But he got the most crooked ass kid to show up at his door.
Legit worst. Solomon dies and Balthi goes on to a talk show, and the things that connects us all together is school shootings, all the wars and all these things. And that shouldn't be the reason that connects us together.
Well, I don't think negative news has that power anymore. I think that it further divides people. And a lot of the times, like you may think that everyone's talking about Lebanon right now, everyone's talking about Iran, but some people don't even know about it until their gas prices go up. So
right.
I just think that's sadly, another like speck in the millions of specks that cause this divide and lack of community and isolation. And I thought that the last scene where Balthi was talking passively to the news, getting interviewed about his experience as a victim and all that, was reminded me of this other video I saw on Twitter a while back where they were showing really explicit news on TV about political unrest, war, and people were just drinking and talking as if nothing was happening. And I think that just represents the modern times.
Yeah.
Everything's just like another post you scroll by. Like you could read 1,000 kids died and you're just like, oh. And it's not even the fact that you're dead inside, it's just we're numb to it at this point.
So don't be a pawn to your dystopian society. You can watch this film because this is like a great film, a great film with great performances. I think some of the best performances I've seen of recent years.
And it's so cool because they're like really close to our age. If not, some of them are younger than me. Jaeden is younger than me.
I am officially campaigning Asa Butterfield to get an Oscar nom, I think.
And he's British.
The dude was doing a Texan accent and nobody's talking about it. Like, that's insane.
Okay, we should stop this now.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Put it simply, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you think we're crazy, just tell us. We don't mind it. And also, the director and producer, if you're listening, if you want a slave in order to push forward your Oscar campaign, we're here.
We're unemployed.
We're unemployed slave.
This world is so cruel to people it doesn't understand. People that are special and different.